Pronounced, defined, used in lexical dispatch. Anachronism. Noun. Anachronic. Anachronistic. Anachronistically. Anachronous. Anachronously. A person, object, custom, or idea placed in a time period where it does not belong. For example, a wristwatch in a Shakespearean play. A chronological error, assigning an event, technology, or practice to an incorrect historical era. For example, depicting medieval knights in stone castles before their construction. A literary or artistic device intentionally juxtaposing elements from different eras to create humor, critique, or accessibility. For example, modern slang in historical fiction. A surviving element from an earlier period that appears outdated in its current context. For example, horse cavalry in World War II. Archaic, rare. Parachronism, a historically accurate element inappropriately retained in a later period. For example, quails in the 19th century. Prochronism, a future element misplaced in the past. For example, GPS in a 17th century narrative. Metachronism, a broader temporal distortion mixing multiple historical periods within a single setting. The playwright's inclusion of a smartphone in a medieval drama was a glaring anachronism. Anachronisms like quill pens in a 21st century office highlight outdated practices. The novel's anachronism, a Victorian character quoting Nietzsche, was deliberate satire. Historians flag the mention of tomatoes in pre-Columbian Europe as a textbook anachronism. Anachronisms in documentaries, such as modern vehicles in World War II footage, undermine credibility. The anachronistic use of parchment scrolls in a cyberpunk story confused readers. Critics called the film's anachronistic jazz soundtrack in a Renaissance setting bold but jarring. Anachronistic tax laws still reference fax machines, complicating digital compliance. Her anachronistic insistence on handwritten letters charmed some but baffled others. The anachronistic feudal hierarchy clashed with the colony's democratic ideals. The director anachronistically staged Hamlet with neon lights and holograms. Anachronistically attributing climate science to 18th century thinkers misrepresents history. The professor anachronistically compared blockchain to medieval ledger systems.
Analogies. Anachronism is to temporal error as anomaly is to statistical deviation in GRE or SAT. Synonyms: temporal incongruity, chronological misplacement in GRE or GMAT. Avoid archaism, which denotes age, not misplacement. Contexts: literary analysis, intentional anachronism for satire. Historical accuracy critiques. For example, which sentence contains an anachronism? Common confusables: archaism, obsolete element versus anachronism, temporal mismatch. Parachronism, correct item in wrong era, versus prochronism. Future item in past. Oxymoron, contradictory terms. Anachronism, time era. Reading comprehension. Identify anachronism to assess authorial intent. For example, humor or critique. Essay writing. Use anachronistic to critique outdated policies. For example, anachronistic curricula fail Gen Z. Critical reasoning. Spot anachronisms in argument premises. For example, citing 19th century data for modern tech. Modern adaptation. Rolling up car windows. A lingering anachronism from manual handles. Non-obvious derivative. Anacronym. Dialing a number is an anachronym as rotary phones no longer exist. Rewinding a video persists as an anachronym in streaming services.